welcome into D. Armstrong WLTZ Facebook Live. It's the day after Irma. It's a good day for you to be sitting there with your computer, your smartphone, however you're getting us, because you're going to love this interview. I have the fabulous Karen Spears Zacharias with us. Thank you so much for coming back.
I'm so excited to be back in my hometown.
I'm going to tell you, my heart leaps when I see Karen.
Thank you.
I wrote on Instagram and Twitter today that you ever have one of those books that you're just reading it and you want to read it, but you don't want to read it because if you read it, it's going to come to an end.
I know.
Like it's better than dessert. So that was the first book of your trilogy, Mother of Rain.
Correct.
It was fabulous. Some of you saw the stage play adaptation at the Springer Theater, but it continues. Okay,
yes.
Let's catch up, Karen. What's going on in your life?
Yeah, I do want to say that Paul Pierce, who did that adaptation, fabulous. And those actors at the Springer.
Wow. The
Springer is one of the best things about this community.
It is.
They're amazing. And I'm looking forward to seeing Dreamgirls.
Oh, wow.
I've arranged my book tour schedule so that I can be here and see it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah,
well, I'm just
very
mad
excited.
they didn't put us in it.
Well, not me. Not me.
Oh, not me either, really. Okay. Wow. So I think you were here maybe 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Mother of Rain?
Yes.
Was the
well,
first?
it was last year.
Was it last year? Okay.
It was last year, last
Okay.
April.
Last April.
That they did the stage production. And it was so fabulous. It was so, Paul didn't talk to me ahead of time. I didn't know how he was going to do the adaptation. So I was just as surprised.
Fabulous. Oh, gosh. Well, let's let them know. The trilogy is about a couple of people, but centered on, what is she called? What is Birdie?
A Melungeon.
A Melungeon.
And which is triracial. Birdie is the healer woman of the mountain. Christian Bend is a real place in East Tennessee. And it happens to be the place that I went to the summer after my father was killed, or the summer my father was killed in Vietnam. I had a great aunt who lived up there, and my mom, just overwhelmed by everything, took me to my great aunt's and left me and my brother there while she tended to a lot. There's a lot of business in dying.
Yes. Oh, gosh. Yes.
So we stayed there, and I really believe that it was in Christian Bend that I got my roots for storytelling. There wasn't much else to do there.
Well, it seems either you are the storyteller or they create. Storytelling and Christian Bend just seems to go together.
Yes,
Can I just kind of give them a little synopsis? Christian Bend is it's community, it's blacks, it's whites, it's the Melungeons, the triracial woman, and their lives are all intertwined. And in the first book, Maisie is this child that you just want to love. She has so many ups and downs, and you just want to grab her and hug her. And you're in her mind the whole time. Yes. Oh, it's awesome. I don't want to give it away. You tell as much as we can tell.
So in the first book, in Mother of Rain, Maisie struggles as a young girl and continues to struggle after the birth of her and Zeb's son, Rain, who becomes deaf due to scarlet fever. And then Zeb goes off to Normandy in World War II and is listed as missing in action. And Maisie's mental problems ensue from there. In the second book, Birdie, Birdie is the character we all fall in love with in Mother of Rain. Yes. I mean, who doesn't love a granny woman in their life who can do healing and
go into all the communities?
Yes, and speak wisdom to everybody she meets. So we love Birdie, but she kind of goes through a transformation in that second book herself. In the third book, in Christian Bend, Rain, who's now an adult, finds out—
the boy that grows up.
Yeah, the deaf child who grows up, and he discovers that his father really was not killed in Normandy. And he is trying to reconcile why his father abandoned him and abandoned the family. And
I hope I don't stay up all night trying to read this book because that's what I do. Once I read it, it's like I can't put it down.
Yeah. It takes me a lot longer to write them than it does
That's
for
very
you all
good.
to read them, that's for sure. But the book centers around how community can be a source of healing for people struggling with post-traumatic.
And there's so many little nuances there. It's the interaction of black and white,
Yes.
whites and people of color.
Yes.
And Maisie has mental illness, which made me think of some friends of mine that I saw that had some kind of adult onset mental illness. They seemed almost normal as children, and yet you find out later they were always struggling, and eventually it comes out they do have a mental illness that they're dealing with. Yes, and that's Maisie.
Right. So all three books really deal with alienation. I look at Mother of Rain as alienation for the mentally ill and for the disabled. The second book, Birdie, deals with alienation because of race. And the third book deals with alienation because of post-traumatic stress disorder. And the answer to that alienation in each book is community. And that's why I had always thought this book was going to be called Rain. But when I finished writing it, I realized it was more than just Rain's story. It was about the entire community and their efforts to provide healing to Rain, to Maisie, and ultimately to Zeb.
How can they get the trilogy?
The book's available wherever books are sold, and I'm working with Barnes & Noble right now. Looks like I'll be doing a signing either on October 3rd, or 4th or 5th here in Columbus.
Let me know. I'll definitely give you a banner on the Facebook page. Well, let me ask you this. You know that the Writers' Conference is coming up at the Springer. And don't forget, say, hook me up, Dee. I want tickets to the Writers' Conference.
Yes.
It's coming up very soon. And this is where you get those ideas that can take your writing to another level.
Absolutely.
How would you describe it to someone?
I love the Writers' Conference. I've spoken at the Writers' Conference, and I know that Rick Bragg is coming in, and Rick is a friend. And if you've not read Rick's writing, you should be reading it. He's terrific. He's just the old-fashioned storyteller who was raised up on journalism as well, and I've been a longtime fan and a friend of Rick's. So
do you want to be around people of that caliber? Now, Karen's not going to be there this year, but you're going to be at another fabulous event.
Yes, I'm going to be in New Orleans, which is kind of a nice place to go.
Oh, yeah.
So the Southeast Independent Booksellers have a trade show every year, and this year their trade show is in New Orleans. So I'm going over there, and I'll be there for the weekend. But anyone who's here should go hear Rick.
If you want to write a play,
yes.
I desperately am trying to put together a one-woman play.
I'm so excited to hear
starring
that.
me.
Yes,
It's just one of those
yes.
things on my bucket list. I'm doing it. Okay, so I will definitely be there. If you want to write a play, if you want to write a screen. What do you call it for television?
A screenplay.
A screenplay. A screenplay.
Or a stage play.
Or a stage play or a novel.
Right.
Whatever it is, there will be an opportunity for you. This is just a little of a piece of video from the stage play of Mother of Rain.
It was so fabulous. And it was really otherworldly to have someone take characters that I created and translate them to the stage, and to see those actors embody those people.
Now that's one part of it. I'm going to go back a little bit. You as the writer, how difficult is it for you to put me in a world that's almost magical? I read a little something that it took you a while to write the first book, huh?
I did. I started in 2005 when I came off a book tour for After the Flag Has Been Folded, the memoir about my father. So I started writing then, and I went through so many revisions because I had done nothing but journalism or nonfiction work until I sat down to do Mother of Rain. And so I worked on it from
totally different way to write.
Absolutely different way. And it's kind of difficult when you've always been a journalist and your idea writing is to source everything. And then now they're telling you, you have this voice and you get to see.
Creativity.
Yeah, and create.
Say what you want to say.
Right. So, but you dig down within you. I actually, Mother Maisie, the character Maisie, was inspired by a friend from here in Columbus who had dealt with some mental health issues.
Wow.
And I always had told her that one day I would tell her story, but I wasn't going to tell it as nonfiction because, you know, there's that stigma. And I didn't want her to have to deal with that. So she's it's not her story, but she was the inspiration for telling the story of a woman struggling with what is postpartum psychosis.
Wow.
So.
Wow. Would that have been Maisie's diagnosis?
Yes, it would have been. But we didn't have a name for it in the 40s, of course.
No, not even in the 70s. I was telling my kids.
Or in the 90s, really.
When we were young, if someone did that, they'd say, somebody put a spell on you.
Or
Hanks is after you.
Or they're not right in the head.
Yeah,
right?
something's wrong. Yeah. You're just crazy.
Right,
yes. But there was, speak to some of the people out there who love to write and they want to get to where you are. What's the journey like?
So the real trick is to do it every day, is to get up and write every day. When I wrote After the Flag Has Been Folded, I was a journalist. I was working full time. I had a job that required 50 to 60 hours a week as, you know, a reporter. And I had 4 teenagers. But I would rise up at 4:30 in the morning.
Wow.
I know, right? Some people rise up that early to work out. I'd rather write than run.
I like that. I like that.
So I would get up at that time and I would write for an hour or two before I went to work. And then I would go to work all day. And then I would come home. And if I had time on the weekends, I would write more. It took something like 8 years to get that book done. So it's a long time.
Do you think that for those of you, and thank you so much for watching, a couple of you, Betty Nickerson Nelson, Lynn Bueller, Missy McGee, Shirley Turner, thank you so much. Stephanie, we're doing fine. Thank you so much for joining us. Someone who enters that realm and they don't do that well with the first book, do you get better as you...
Gosh, I hope so. This is my 8th book. I guess the readers have to determine whether I got better or not. Yeah, I mean,
for someone who's watching who felt this wasn't it, but I don't want to stop. Don't stop, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So perseverance, I always say the difference between a published writer and an unpublished writer is one quit at some point, and the other one didn't.
Oh, wow. That's great to hear.
Yeah. So I think that, perseverance in any job pays off. So talent helps, but a lot of talented people never publish anything because they won't sit down. You know, on every plane I've ever taken, I've met one person at least who was going to write a book. Because I think everybody has stories within them, and there are endless stories out there to tell. And that's always the big challenge for me is a book is going to take several years of my life to write and you know, promote and how much time do I want to invest in that particular story.
And I think that, and especially with some people I talk with on a regular basis, what they want is a quick book, a quick amount of turnover and money right now. But it doesn't usually happen that way.
No, and if you're doing it for money, you shouldn't. There are easier ways to make money. You might, you know, work at Dairy Queen and make more money.
You do this because you love it, huh?
You do it because it's art and you're an artist and that's what you are compelled to do. I don't write every story that comes my way. People recommend stories all the time, but I do pay attention to what they're suggesting, and I do end up writing stories for instance, Christian Ben, which deals with post-traumatic. A lot of that came about because of my work with After the Flag Has Been Folded, and all the many veterans and veterans organizations I worked with as a result of the memoir. It was just a natural outflow to do a book about post-traumatic.
That was a quick 15, 16 minutes.
Oh, it
Tell you,
was.
I have
It
enjoyed it.
was.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Irma's
Dee.
gone, and the back
Yes,
wind blew
yes.
you in, and I'm so glad
Yes.
that Karen has been able to be here. Karen, may I give this book away to someone
Oh,
watching?
absolutely.
They're asking about
Absolutely.
the book. Okay, say, hook me up, Dee. I want to read Christian Ben by Karen Spears Zacharias, one of our own. I can call her a homegirl.
Yeah, homegirl, right.
All right. And don't forget, hook me up too if you're interested in becoming a writer. You are a writer. You want to mingle with some of the best in the country. Say, hook me up, Dee, with tickets to the Writers Conference at the Springer, which is coming up very shortly, and I'm going to give those away too. Thank you so much for being with us.
It was wonderful. And encourage them to go online and write a review after they read it. I
Oh,
would love
wow.
that.
Do that.
Reach
Write
out
the
to me.
review.
You can find me at karensack.com. So,
Thanks for being with us.
All
And we
right.
have the news coming up at noon here on WLTZ. Stay with us all day. It's after Irma now, and we'll be here at noon, 5, 6, 10, and 11, right here on WLTZ. Love you.
Thank you.
So what is